Hi guys, today we're going to have the second half of our review of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and we'll get to that right after this. The beginning of a new year is when many people start thinking about their goals, and I'm no exception. The Goal Process 101 ebook has helped me clarify the best and most achievable goals for me, plus helped me set a plan in place to accomplish them. I mean, this podcast is just one of the results of using the Goal Process 101 ebook. Check it out at christiannerdsunite.com/goals. It helped me. I'm sure it can help you too. Now, back to the show. Now, I know I shared these same scriptures last week, but honestly, they're just so important to me, I want to share them with you one more time. And if you didn't check out last week's episode, definitely go back and listen to part 1 of this episode. This is Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And Proverbs 17:17. A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity. Now, let's get back to our conversation with my good friend Mike Schilling, the host of Something About Something show on Facebook. And let's get back to our review of Zack Snyder's Justice League. What I have, it's so long.
I know, between the two, I know. So,
and it kills me because I actually bothered to watch Batman v Superman that week as well, to get prepped for watching it, and the ultimate the cut that's on HBO Max is a lot better cut than the theatrical was.
I know.
So I mean, there is something to be said about having a longer movie that makes sense.
You know, there was a time
to make it part 1 and part 2.
Well, you know, back in the 60s and in the 50s, they did that. I mean, it was an experience. I mean, there was many shows like as a kid, Mad World, and it was like a 4-hour movie. So you had intermittents where people would actually go out and get popcorn, or back then they would go for a smoke in the lobby or whatever. Back in
Lawrence
that time,
of Arabia is 3 hours and 48 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, so long movies are not unheard of. There's not a reason we can't. I'll tell you why they don't. You know why they don't do long movies?
Oh, it's
the theaters.
Yeah, exactly.
It's churn.
Yeah, it's
because a theater will make more box office if they can churn it faster. So a 90-minute movie can technically make a whole lot more
money
than a 3-hour movie. And so that's absolutely the reason they do what they do.
Yeah,
it's why it's why Warner Brothers said you can't have the movie be 3 hours. You have to cut it down.
And it's funny, they turned right around after all the popularity of Zack Snyder and Warner Brothers, who owns HBO Max, saying, "Do whatever you want to do. Do whatever you want to do."
But now it's not theatrical, so it doesn't matter.
Well, they didn't have to spend any money on it either.
Yeah, because
if you think about it, it was all Zack Snyder, putting it together, editing it together.
Well, I mean, they did spend money because he did do reshoots. He did do new dialogue, and he had people come back, and there was lots of new CGI. So they spent $20 or $30 million on this cut. But the big deal, I think the end is going to be to see if they will do anything else.
Yeah.
Did this bring new subscribers?
Yeah.
In the end, that is going to be Warner Brothers' big question. If it brought new subscribers to the platform, they will think really long and hard about doing something else.
Yeah.
Well,
but they're gonna. Yeah.
We mentioned CGI just a minute ago.
Yeah.
What did you think of the CGI?
I think some of the CGI was a lot better than the first one.
I think so too.
I think there still were some scenes that could have been left out of.
There's one scene.
Yeah.
It's so bad. The CGI is so cringy. It's the scene where Cyborg's dad he's being carried in by two of the parademons, and they fly off the edge. They fly off the ledge of the walkway, and they fly down to the ground. And he just it's a CGI puppet all day long, and it looks so bad. It looks as bad as Wonder Woman rolling around with two toy dolls in Wonder Woman 1984.
I know.
It was the one that stuck in my head as, yep, you probably should have just left that out. That one, we didn't need to see him fly down to the ground.
There was no reason for that.
There was no reason to show that.
No.
And it was bad CGI.
Definitely.
However, what did you think of the updated Steppenwolf?
Oh, I think it was much better. Much better.
What did you think of the articulating armor that's like
yeah, exactly.
Twitched all
the time. And then it would, he would just all suddenly like shutters, it would just close, it was like window blinds that would all shut,
It looked so great.
Yeah, it does.
Really did
really
look
good.
Great.
Yeah.
And his facial expressions, I think, were better.
Well, we in the relationship with Steppenwolf, and then, and I can't remember the guy's name who was the in-between between him and
Darkseid.
Darkseid.
Desaad, I think, is the name of the character. I don't know that they name him in the movie.
Yeah, I don't think so. But
it
made the story so
deeper.
It made the story so deeper. Yes. You understand why he is so, literally hell-bent to, to...
I had one... I was reading through some comments on some of the you and I both we run fairly large Facebook pages, and one of the comment threads, somebody was complaining about somebody posted something, it was an explanation of Darkseid, and it used Darkseid's birth name, which I don't know, or even I'm not even going to begin to how to pronounce it, but it used that name, and somebody was like, what in the world is this? And they were like, well, it explains Darkseid. It explains who he is and what he did in the movie, so that, for those who are not informed. And his complaint, the person comes back with, well, it's not a very good movie if you have to have a whole wiki to explain it. And so I read it, and I was like, no, the wiki explains everything that I knew because I paid attention during the movie because I do a show like this.
Exactly.
But for the casual viewer, you would have missed it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the casual viewer would maybe not catch on to the fact that Steppenwolf has been exiled and is now required to destroy 50,000 worlds before he can reconcile with Darkseid.
Exactly.
And another part of that conversation was, well, how in the world would Darkseid forget that that's where he left the mother boxes? And because when Steppenwolf calls in, he phones it in, it's not the mother boxes that matter. It's the anti-life equation that matters.
Which they never made
anti-life.
Which they never made a big deal on the first one.
No, it wasn't even
a thing.
Darkseid really wasn't a thing, so it didn't matter. Now, I'm just going to go up. I'm going to go there because I'm not a huge DC fan.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sure there are super lame things in Marvel 2 that are super significant. But anti-life equation is just kind of lame sounding.
It is lame. It is lame sounding.
But it's such a big part of who Darkseid is.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and I got to admit, you know, an Infinity Gauntlet with a bunch of jewels in it is kind of lame too.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
he's DC's Thanos. Yeah, basically.
I think it's kind of cooler than the anti-life equation.
I think so.
At least the Gauntlet's something I can grab a hold of and see.
Yeah.
You know, the anti-life equation is, well, what is it?
I don't think DC fans know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so but it is a thing now. And
Yeah.
it's part of the DCEU. You know, and we know it's here on Earth, and we know it exists, and we know now Darkseid knows about it. And but anyway, I thought
And
it was
nothing's going to
interesting.
happen because there'll be no sequel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now there are rumors. Now the rumors are on websites that I don't approve of, and I hardly ever actually take anything that they say as gospel truth. But there are passing rumors that because of the success of Zack Snyder's Justice League, that Warner Brothers is considering seeing what might happen if they do another one. Now, I've only seen it a couple places. You know, I'm not seeing it in Variety. You mentioned Variety earlier.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it in Variety. I'm not seeing it in the Hollywood Reporter. I'm not seeing it in CDR or CBR. And until I see it in one of those, I'm not going to believe it.
Yeah.
But
Well, and you have to look too. I mean, to make it happen, the actors have to come back, and
Yes.
Zack Snyder needs to come back because he's the creator.
Zack Snyder has to come back. Even if he doesn't direct it, he has to come back to produce it.
Yeah, definitely. He has to, and you have these other equations. You know, do you not have certain
Anti-life equations?
Exactly.
Sorry,
Exactly.
you
Yeah,
went
no, you had
there.
to go. I went there, but yeah, I won't say what I was going to say anyway. That's for another show. But anyhow, yeah. But you know, you look at it and you think to yourself, okay, Henry Cavill, he's Cavill. You know, he is. You know, if he's not going to be Superman, if they're going to do a reboot.
Yeah.
There's all these things that are happening. Now, the whole thing was Patterson.
Affleck, you know,
the whole thing
Affleck's
with Patterson, that's
gone.
a whole different world. That's not even the topic of this. But
Well, and that's if you look at that, that's going to be more like the Joker movie.
yeah, I
came
mean,
out.
it's going to be more of
At
a
the best,
modern,
it's
realistic,
going to be earlier. You know,
Yeah.
it's earlier in his life rather
Yeah.
than later.
kind of year one type of Batman.
Year 1, year 2, something like that. So it's definitely a different world. But I hope I would be hopeful that they could pull something off.
Well, one thing I
just don't know.
The one thing I do want to say, and they can do it in The Flash. I mean, you have Ben Affleck is going to be in The Flash, maybe a very small part, you know, as a mentor to Barry, you know, and you know, and of course our man Michael Keaton, my Batman back in the day. Because okay, this is my vision. Okay, so just bear with me. Okay, if they can get everybody on board, okay.
Yeah.
You know, Michael Keaton ends up trading universes with Affleck, so he's gone, and then and he comes back as the elder, you know, the Stark billionaire, and you know, and he forms the Justice League, and he's, you know, he has the money, he has the superpower of being rich, and everyone kind of take his direction. That's how I would like to see that. I don't know if Michael Keaton would actually be for something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know if this is I don't know. I mean, the money is good, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
But I think the Flash could be the key if they want to keep the universe together, if they want to make it consistent.
Yes. Or if they just want to reboot it.
Exactly. And they can do that. They totally
if
can
they
do
want
that.
to, if they want to reboot it with who they currently have, and just mix up the world, kind of like a New 52 kind of idea.
Exactly.
We're going to use the people who are going to stay. You know, if we can keep Gal Gadot and we can keep Aquaman, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. If we can keep those two actors, you know, we can keep the Flash actor, and then we either, you know, drag our new Batman into this universe because we screwed everything up because the Flash did something weird, you know, or we recast an older Batman, we recast a Superman because Cavill doesn't want to come back, and we slam together a whole new universe. I mean, it's possible. I think it would be weird, but I think it's possible, and it's the kind of thing that Marvel is about to have to do because they've killed off all of their A-listers.
Yeah, exactly. They're all on Disney Plus now.
All the B-listers are going to have to take over.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this idea of another movie with the dream sequence. What did you think of the updated dream sequence? Because there was a lot more of it.
It was a lot more of it. I guess for me, if there's nothing that's going to happen, it should have been left out. You know, to me, it just kind of...
How do you mean?
Well, I mean, the dream sequence to me was... I didn't really think it had any relevance to the movie itself. I thought it was interesting. It goes back to some of the stuff, the fears that Batman had back in the Batman versus Superman.
It's the same world that Batman v Superman had the flashback on.
Yeah.
It's the same world that earlier in the movie Cyborg had a flash of. Had a view of.
Yeah.
We see a Flash that looks much more similar to the Flash that comes flying at Bruce Wayne and says, "Oh, I'm too early."
Yeah, exactly.
And says Lois is the key. So that's Batman v Superman as well.
Yeah.
So it's all these little things that have been dripped and dribbled throughout, you know, the course of the movie.
Yeah.
But now we get a longer cut.
Yeah. I mean, I found it interesting. I mean, you have the Joker and the Batman working together. I found that in the dream sequence. You know,
I actually really like that idea.
I do too. You know, you have who was it? It's is it Death? Can't remember her name. The guy with the Deathstroke. You know,
you've got Deathstroke as one of the good guys.
Yeah,
now,
which is interesting.
Kind of.
Which
maybe.
prior, you know, if you remember the scene of Lex Luthor on his ship, you know, on his luxury cruise, and
that scene changed significantly.
Yeah, it did.
So
it did.
Okay, before we finish with the dream sequence,
go ahead.
Let's talk about this part. So we have Deathstroke. It's an entirely different scene.
Yeah, different.
It's not a subtle change.
No, it's big.
In the theatrical cut, Luthor's comment at the end is, "We need a league of our own."
Exactly.
Which is a movie about female baseball players in World War II. So anyway, so Luthor implies the Legion of Doom. If you're Super Friends, you know, do they even have a name in the comics for the group? Did they ever give a name?
No, I mean,
you know. So you've got the evil Justice League basically.
Basically is what it is.
That Luthor says we're going to start creating. Well, in the new cut, that is never said.
No, it's not ever mentioned.
And all it is Deathstroke or them communicating the idea that Deathstroke has agreed to kill the Batman.
Yeah.
And that Luthor has agreed to give him enough information to do it. And it really pushes for a Ben Affleck solo Batman movie with Deathstroke as the villain, as an assassin killing Batman Bruce Wayne.
Which I thought would be wonderful. I think having, I think
brilliant.
Ben Affleck, I think he would continue to be a good Batman. I think he fit the role.
He has
just
at
fine.
least one more Batman movie in him. He could do it.
He could have done it. Yeah. He could have done it. And that would have been, you can tell Zack Snyder, you can tell that he was in his mind, he was having a vision for the entire universe.
Yes.
It just, everyone dropped the ball. He stepped away, and I could totally understand why he stepped away.
Warner Brothers stuck their nose in too far.
Yeah.
And, made him cut too much. And then he had to step away halfway through one of the movies. And he definitely had a Feige kind of idea.
Yeah,
he wasn't given the Feige kind of power.
Exactly.
And I think that's the key.
Now, go ahead. No, I was just saying, I was just thinking about the dream sequence. What were your opinion on it?
I'm right there with you. Because there's probably not going to be another movie. Yeah. It probably needed to not happen.
And that's my only thing.
Because, and they kept telling us, oh, there's a big cliffhanger. There's a big cliffhanger. Well, this is what the cliffhanger is. It's the dream sequence. Yeah. And it's not exactly a cliffhanger. But I have I have some big problems with it. Mm-hmm. One of the big problems is you have, because of the dream sequence, the two major Justice League members that we just mentioned that probably are going to stick around and make more movies, Wonder Woman and Aquaman, you killed them off.
You killed them already. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, they were the two people who were going to hang around.
Do the movie. Yeah.
Batman's the guy who's gone. What are you doing?
That's
killing
right.
off people. So we've got Mira, isn't that her name? His sister.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wanting revenge, which is, that's a great motivation. It's a great play there. We've got Cyborg, who has some kind of major issue going on. Major difficulties going on. We've got the Joker now. And what did you think of the Joker this time?
Big improvement from the Joker that we remember from
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
So much better.
So much better. He wasn't a what I call a bling Joker. He was more of the Joker. It was almost like it was a nice compromise between your original Joker to more modern Joker. It was I mean, it was a good compromise because the one in I think it was Suicide Squad, that Joker was just over the top. And I don't mean in a good way either. It was but the new Joker almost kind of remind me a little bit of the Dark Knight series.
Yes. He had a little more Heath Ledger.
Had a little bit more of that in it.
A little bit crazier.
Yeah.
A little less organized.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a great, I think it was a great portrayal of the Joker.
I did too.
I thought it was a good way. I like the idea that, they're going to work together, as long as you have this card, I'm with you. Now, that's not true. Yeah, but but you got to play his game.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But I thought it was a great setup. It is a great setup for another movie.
Yeah.
There are some things, like I said, I'm disappointed about in that part, but I think it is a great setup for another movie.
Yeah. If there were going to be a setup for another movie, I think the dream sequence would have been fine. And I understand the whole idea of Zack Snyder wanting to put everything back into it, but for some reason, it didn't feel right. Didn't feel right to me in the contents of that particular story. That's not going to be continued. I
I almost feel like it should have been a post-credit scene, number one,
Yeah.
rather than actually in the movie.
Yeah,
because there were no
agree.
post-credit scenes.
No.
It should have been played as a post-credit scene, more like a DVD extra kind of thing,
Yeah.
rather than as part of the movie. It definitely is leading us down a trail that they've been trying to push us down for a long time, that we're probably never going to get to go down, which is just kind of a letdown. It's like, oh, this looks good. Now, it also could be Zack Snyder's way of saying, hey, guys, maybe if you push for it, maybe I'll get it. I'll give you just enough that you'll create a hashtag, another hashtag.
And actually, what I'm understanding, Zack Snyder actually wanted to do this, but he let the fans, run the publicity for it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he let them carry the water on that deal, and it worked out great.
Yeah, I don't know. Will the fans carry water this time?
I hope so.
Can lightning strike twice?
I sure hope so. Sure hope so, because I think they've got something special if they can go this direction. And actually, you were talking about Cavell. He actually was rumors that he wanted to take on the cape again, but the studios are wanting to do a reboot. So there's some of that too. And I know a lot of people, kind of hate on him, but I think he made a great Superman. It just, it has to do with the writers and the directions that they give him.
Yeah.
So, and I always hate that whole, I call it the bewitch switch, the Darren switch.
You just ignore the fact that there's a whole different person
person playing the same character. So
Rhodey in the Iron Man movies.
Exactly.
We'll just ignore the fact that that's not the right actor.
Yeah. But again, if it was and that I gave it a pass. But if you have a major person like, Tony Stark, all of a sudden, it's no longer Robert Downey Jr.
You need a better explanation.
It has to be totally something else.
Yeah. Which could be, the Flash doing something stupid and causing chaos. And now we have a new Superman that didn't. This was not the Superman we knew. And it's not that he's a new Superman. It's not that he's recast. It's not that he's a new Superman. It's a Superman from a different universe.
Exactly.
Things got mixed up. Things got combined. And I think that could be a good way to do it if they want to do it that way.
If it's done right, yes, they can do that.
If they do it right. I think it could be an epic fail and definitely blow up in their faces as well.
Oh, yeah.
What do you... quick thing here. Martian Manhunter finally shows up.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
What did you think about that? Because he's in the movie a couple of times.
Well, he's actually
mid-movie and then at the end.
And he's actually the same actor that plays that character in the TV series.
Oh, is he?
Yes, he is.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Well, he's actually in Man of Steel as well.
Yeah.
Is he a general? Is he standing in as a general?
In the general, yeah. I
don't remember. He's a general or a commander or something. He's a military person, and it's the same. It's the same actor. It's the same character. And then, now we find out that's really Martian Manhunter. Yeah. Now, what do you think? There's a weird scene with Martian Manhunter, kind of. You and I were texting back and forth. And I was like, where are you in the movie? And I said, I said, Martha just knocked on Lois's door.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And then when she leaves, it's not Martha. It was actually Martian Manhunter the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time.
I'm like, wait, what? What is that?
That threw me off.
I never quite understood what the purpose of that was, other than to get Lois to go back to work. I mean, I don't understand why Martian Manhunter needed her to go back to work. Martha would have had emotional she would have had emotional motivation to have that conversation anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I know you're grieving, I'm grieving. We both have to learn to move on. You have to go back to work. I have to go figure out how to live my life. So it was like, why did he need to? Why did he need to be Martha?
Yeah, I don't know the motivation behind that. Yeah,
that's the one thing that I just went, that was weird.
That was really weird. It made no sense to me.
Maybe I missed. I need to watch it again. Maybe I missed something. Maybe there's something in the conversation that makes more sense.
I mean, unless there's something to do about her getting back out in the world, because she knows that eventually for some reason, he knows that she needs to be out there because she's the key to the whole Superman.
Yeah, does he know she's the key? And if he does, why does he? Because that's not real clear.
I do want to say one thing: the scene of when Lois is opening up her drawer, you've seen there was a pregnancy test kit.
Yes.
And, so, and of course we had a conversation. I asked you, what do you think about close to the end where I guess, Bruce Wayne ends up buying the bank that owns Clark's mom's house and farm. And, on the way up, he tells Clark, congratulations. And at first I'm going, well, he's saying congratulations because he got married, because I know that he proposed to her. Or that
you're alive again.
Or you're alive again, or is because you are, Lois with child. And, of course, your answer to me was all of the above.
Yeah.
But
my answer was yes.
But
because Batman just knows things like that.
Yeah, because he's Batman. But
because I'm Batman. Yeah.
But I wanted to know. I mean, it was kind of like, okay. Because, when they were in the field, Superman, Clark and Lois, and, he was in the field getting his memory back.
Yeah.
He saw her having the engagement ring. She had it on. And, his
I'll take that as a yes.
I'll take that as a yes. And so something happens. That she has a pregnancy test, so something happened.
Yeah.
It was interesting because ING, and I sent you
IGN?
that text. Yeah.
Is
IGN?
this
ING?
IGN. Is this the it's Batman's son thing?
Yeah.
That's screwed
up. Isn't that
weird?
Isn't that messed up?
That's just messed up. I don't think that's even if it could be a thing, that is horrible and should never be a thing.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a thing.
It should just not be a thing.
But they had an interview with Zack Snyder, and they said that's what he said. I mean, if it was, we got you covered, then I totally would throw it out of the way.
I know it was IGN though.
But it was,
I know.
Yeah, so
I know.
Well, I should do more research on it and see if anybody else said the same thing or not.
I want to read the article again, and I want to read his words to make sure they're not reading something into that.
Or they're just having, a gotcha title,
Yeah, I read the article.
Yeah.
But I don't remember all of it. But I thought, wait, what? That is just messed up in the head kind of stuff there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't, and I don't think it's a thing. I don't think it's a thing. Now the idea of Superman having a son. Now the idea of Superman having a son that maybe doesn't have powers, becoming Batman in the future, could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But it needs to be Superman's son that just doesn't happen to get powers because he's only half Kryptonian and
yeah, exactly.
For whatever reason, Kryptonians don't have powers.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's half powerful, so we have a really strong Batman.
Yeah, yeah, basically.
But not that he's really Batman's kid. That's just
that's weird.
I don't like that.
Weird.
I don't like that idea. I think it's a horrible idea.
Oh yeah,
it would definitely cause everything that we saw in the dream sequence to come to pass.
Exactly.
But I would rather, I want Darkseid to be the bad guy. I want I want there to be an Iron Man moment for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
I want him to give himself up, give up his life the way Superman gave up his life. Now, and that actually, if Zack Snyder has that as a idea, as bookends, my first quote unquote Justice League movie, Dawn of Justice, Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. It was the first Justice League movie because
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
all three standing there together.
Exactly.
By the way, before I go there, the line, who's she? Oh, I thought she was with you. Bruce, you know who she is. She was definitely with you, Bruce. It's the worst line ever.
Oh, I know.
Simply because, Bruce, you know who she is. You knew who she is because you saw the photo from 1918 or whenever
Yeah,
it was.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know exactly who she is. Why are you saying you thought she was with Superman?
Exactly.
It's not like he doesn't already know that you're Bruce Wayne. Superman knows who you are. You know everything. Just fess up.
Just leave it at that. Yeah.
So where I was going with that is, we've got the backdoor pilot for Justice League of Batman v Superman. It would kind of be a poetic bookend to have Superman die in the first Justice League and Batman die in the last Justice League. A little poetic bookend there.
I could see that.
Could be nice.
Well, and it opened up a whole new person to play Batman, to carry the mantle.
Yes. Yeah, so. And then you have Ben Affleck able to gracefully step away from the cowl. You're able to replace him effectively
with a younger character if you want to, or
someone who can actually be there.
Someone who can actually be in the series for a while. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So, any last thoughts on Justice League?
I was really pleased. I was concerned going into it. There was a lot of hype. It was all Rotten Tomatoes. Critics were all over the place.
Absolutely.
And so, but I was very pleased. It's one of those things. It was like eating a bag of chips. You would spend 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. You go do something else. You come back and watch for an hour.
Yeah.
And the whole experience was really good. I mean, I really enjoyed it. The dream sequence, again, just because there's no longer a premise of starting something else, could have been left out. It wasn't bad. It's just kind of felt like a hangnail to me.
Wasn't required.
Yeah, it felt like a hangnail to me. It just, but it was really good, and it made me want more.
Absolutely.
And it made me also very sad that DC or Warner Brothers can't keep good people and cultivate a environment, people having vision. And so, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I have nothing, except for the things we talked about, I really have nothing negative to say about it.
Can you imagine if Warner Brothers was able to sign contracts with Cavill and Ben Affleck for like 10 or 12 movies like Marvel was able to do?
Oh.
I mean, Marvel pretty much writes the contracts of, hey, you're going to be in 12 movies.
Yeah.
You might only have a bit part in a movie, but you're going to be in 12 movies.
Well, they could have done that. I mean, because Affleck and Cavill, I mean, they weren't really big actors. I mean, we knew Affleck a little bit. Affleck kind of in the same, because Robert Downey Jr., when he started in Marvel, I mean, when he's in Marvel, he was become the comeback kid. I mean, he was in a bad place. Okay, so
I think Ben Affleck was way ahead of that.
I think so too.
I think, but Cavill was kind of a bit of an unknown before.
Yeah, he was
before Man of Steel. Not completely. He had done some things, but he probably fits more into that Marvel style of, we've got a really good actor that's known for some smaller films, and we're going to make him a superstar. Ben Affleck was he was really already a superstar, I think.
Yeah, it's
but maybe he was maybe he was being used a little bit less than he had been in the past.
Yeah.
So maybe you got some of that going on.
Yeah,
and then we've got Gal Gadot, which was just about an unknown in
she got paid absolutely almost nothing for her first film. I mean,
yes.
she wanted to play.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I mean,
so amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So she's awesome. I really like her as an actress and the character that she plays. So
yeah.
But yeah, any ideas what you think what DC next move is going to be?
I think they're going to wait and see. I mean, let's be honest. If Warner Brothers said tomorrow, all right, it did well enough, let's do another one, Zack, it's going to be 4 years.
Yeah, I know.
It'll be a year of script writing and development at least. And at least a year of production. No less than 2 years. But probably closer to 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Marvel has the advantage because they're already thinking ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a year of this, the next year of this, the next year of that.
And with Marvel, like, even if they end up scrapping a movie or two, or switching things around, they still have it all laid out already.
Yeah.
If Warner Brothers comes in and says, hey, Zack, let's do this thing, I mean, Zack may have it in his brain, but he's the only one who knows about it.
Yeah, and he's
going to have to bring everybody on board before he can really get the ball.
And is there really a time that spans that's too much time for another sequel?
Outside of getting an already aging Ben Affleck to be an even aginger Ben Affleck.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna have a Bruce Wayne that eventually is gonna be too old to be able to do those things. But I don't think so. The majority of the cast is young.
Yeah.
Or youngish. They definitely have 2 or 3 or 4 more movies in them. I don't know that Ben Affleck has 3 or 4 more Batman movies in him.
But it's like if they did it, well, let's just say as the 4-hour Zack Snyder cut went, you're doing the dream sequence and you decide, let's go ahead and do a sequel, and we're looking at maybe 3 or 4 years. Is that are people going to remember or go back and would go see it?
Oh, I think DC fans. From what I know of DC fans are voracious.
Oh yeah.
They want to see a big successful franchise, and they've been disappointed so many times. I think I think they're ready for something.
Oh, I think too, yeah.
And I think they'll wait for it to be if it will be good. I think they'll wait for it.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's the key. If Warner Brothers stays out of the way and Zack Snyder's able to make it good, they will wait.
The thing is, though, Marvel is so good at bringing mainstream people, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's I'm a DC fan, and if it's great, if it's good, I want to see it successful. But is that going to bring in the mainstream? Because your everyday people who I love Captain America. Well, they don't know nothing about Captain America and his background and his comics.
Yeah.
But they're gonna go see these Marvel movies and shows because the marketing is so brilliant.
Well, and the fans can come up with all the hashtags they want.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna say this, just final word on it. If Warner Brothers doesn't see new signups for HBO Max go up significantly because of this movie, it won't happen.
Not going to happen.
That's where it's going to be.
I think the biggest thing you're going to find is people, like they did with The Mandalorian in the beginning of Disney Plus, people may subscribe. Once they see it, they're done.
Yeah. If that happens, I don't think it'll happen.
I don't think so either.
So, Mike, where can people find you online?
Well, we're on the somethingaboutSomething.com. We're also Something About Something Facebook at Nerd.
SAS Nerd.
SAS Nerd.
Nerd.
But yeah, we're all over the place. We're trying to figure out exactly where we're at.
But
we're also
people
part
can
of,
find all the links at somethingaboutSomething.com, right?
Yeah, you can go to either somethingaboutSomething.com or sasnerds.com.
sasnerds.com.
And there we have all our podcasts, our videos, our YouTube. You just click on it. It'll take you to our YouTube channel. And
you should definitely follow the
out.
YouTube channel. There's lots of fun stuff there.
Subscribe.
Well, Mike, I super appreciate you coming on the show. I know this was kind of last minute.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me.
I really wanted to talk to you because I know you were a huge DC fan, and I knew you'd have a lot to say about the Zack Snyder cut. So I really appreciate you being on the show today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, I hope you enjoyed part 2. If you missed part 1, definitely go back and check it out. I think it's been a great 2 episodes. I have really enjoyed hanging out with Mike and discussing Zack Snyder's Justice League and what's different and why we like what we like. Now, don't forget, you can find all of our social links, our online store, and links to our YouTube channel at ChristianNerdsUnite.com. And while you're there, click on the support tab. Check out our Patreon. Consider donating. Everything you donate helps offset some of the costs that we have in running the website and keeping the hosting for our podcast going. Before we go, I do want to pray a special blessing over you. Eternal God and Father, by whose power we are created and by whose love we are redeemed, guide and strengthen us by your Spirit, that we may give ourselves to your service and live this day in love to one another and to you. Through Jesus Christ, your Son, our Lord. Amen. We'll see you next week.